All right, welcome back to Episode 2 of Getting to Know Ourselves. I believe that's what I named this segment when I uploaded it to YouTube. So I'm either going to change it in post or I'm right, which is more likely the case. This time
We're getting to
we're
know
joined, yeah, we're joined by Seth, and then once again Blace, who's kind of co-opting this whole thing. So
we're, we're getting to know ourselves better. It's gonna be so great.
it'll be so great. We're so good at this. Best. What's up, Seth? How you doing?
I'm surviving in this day and age.
It's about all you can ask for. It's about all you can do.
So what does that mean?
Well,
I live,
tea everywhere.
I wake up, I do my taxes, I contribute sort of to society. And
You
then,
you funnel money into the economy. It counts.
yeah. I live, but I don't, or I exist, I'm alive, but I don't feel like I'm living. Does that answer your question?
You're not being fulfilled by your job.
I do
So
not feel like fulfilled in my daily existence.
uh,
Oh man, this would be the one time we don't have fuzz on. What do you think you would need to become fulfilled? Do you think a change of job or a change of scenery would make you be more fulfilled?
No, change the scenery. Honestly, new job would help. Of course, more income, able to do more stuff.
Mm. So you think that maybe getting out of town would help you maybe break out of your funk?
Oh no, because as soon as I get back, I'd be right back in. It's the conversation I have with the wife that I always struggle with. She loves to travel. I enjoy traveling, but I'm also struck with the realization every time we travel that that happy feeling is just minute. Meaning, the moment you start on that trip home, it feels like that entire time
Yeah.
that you just spent, few days, weeks, however long it is, it's in the past, and it might as well have been years ago,
Well, there's
even though it was only a couple days ago.
I think there's a pretty strong argument to be made. And I know I've heard other people make the argument that humans were not meant to be held to like a 40-hour work week or to be confined in buildings all the time. We're social creatures. We desire to be out and about and to travel and to go around and do things and kind of be free. Um,
the whole nomad thing.
yeah, the whole nomad thing, going back to the ancient of times when we would have been traveling tribes, or we would have settled down but not really been restrained by things like work schedules. It would have just been food. So
It would probably help to like at least experience that other side of it, but be able to come back.
yeah, and I think a lot of people, especially people our age, start to get to that point where it's like, well, I spent most of my 20s working, so I got to spend my 30s doing stuff and like traveling. I saved up all that money, and now I'm gonna travel the world. And unfortunately, I think that was like a pipe dream we were fed when we were young, because I mean, unless you're just making really, really good money or don't have any obligations, or you've paid off all your obligations or whatever, then like saving money to travel, especially in COVID times, is kind of a non-starter or non-thing. A lot of
So
countries
so
aren't even letting people in.
so Seth, do you have anything that you wish you could do, or like that let's like like a life goals or like something you want to do or experience or have anything?
Have experience. I mean, obviously, there's the dream house that I feel like most of us have, and then there's as far as like career goals. There's lots of things that I think would be cool. I think game design's been one of those that I've always thought would be the most fulfilling, or at least one of the more enjoyable ones. But my problem I'm starting to learn with is even with that is like with the desk jobs, while they're doable, they they kill you. Office jobs, kill you faster than I'd say most other ones because it's an horribly unhealthy lifestyle. It promotes longer hours and just draining.
It sucks the soul right out of you.
Yeah.
I have more and more having still living in my continued hiatus. I'm more and more critical of places that I want to apply to, and the more that I think about it, and the more that I search for something that's not going to be as soul draining as some of the other things I've done, it really makes me want to kind of follow that entrepreneurial, be your own boss, kind of set your own thing kind of lifestyle. Um, but it's difficult to decide where the direction you want to take, right? Because you see, I watch a lot of streamers, I watch a lot of YouTube, and those guys seem like they set their own hours or whatever, they set their own time, but when it comes down to it, like they're working really long hours, really long weeks trying to get videos together, and then they upload it, and then they have to move on to the next thing. It's like, so they're constantly using all of their energy and their resources to produce something. Now, being free from like bosses, I think would be way better for me and my personality, like not being beholden to a specific corporation. I think would be better, but I know me as a person and how like lazy and flighty I can be. So like not doing things when they need to be done. It's really difficult for me to hold myself to deadlines. I follow company deadlines, no problem. But like if I don't have someone constantly like on my butt about deadlines, it's really difficult for me to do it for myself, you know? So I want to have that like I want to be in like a group of people. And I think it's one of the reasons I really wanted to do the podcast and start getting more stuff in is because I want to be a part of a group where we kind of do our own thing. I want us to be successful with the podcast and everybody be able to just kind of be their own bosses. We just go in this is like a joint venture kind of thing, and we're not really at any. We don't really answer to anybody except for maybe YouTube. We just kind of answer to each other, do what we want.
Yeah. There, I won't deny that there's benefits to corporations, but a lot of it does just get old. I'm sure Blaze can relate. Uh, The political mess that gets involved and the corporate ladder, like it's very easy to look at your boss and even their boss and blame them for all your trouble. But I would say rarely, or ideally rarely, is it truly like that immediate an issue. Most of the time, it's the higher up of the higher up of the higher up, and then the shareholder stockholders
It's
that are
the
calling the shots.
Well, it's the people
People,
who are so displaced from actual problems and actual work
yeah,
that call the shots that you'll find are the ones who are making bad calls because they're literally only seeing things through the scope of politics, and they're
I don't
looking.
know if
Yeah.
I'd call it politics, but I
Well,
understand.
business politics or politics in general, global politics. Usually, it's more like business politics. Like we gotta appease the shareholders. What do our stocks look like? How are we making money? How can we improve and make money and cut costs? So I guess business politics in that area isn't maybe the right phrase, but I think you understand what I mean.
You've always got to cut costs, but at the same time, you have to not make your employees so angry that they quit and you lose good talent because they're like trying to find the balance between employee happiness and profit. How many
or if you
hours? How
just
many? How much productivity you can get out of one? A group of people.
Yeah. Well, Seth, last week we talked to Andy and Blace, and we talked to them about like the worst job they've ever had. So I'm kind of glad we're on this topic in general. So instead of asking you the worst job you've had, which we can still get to, I do want to ask if you've ever considered doing your own thing, being your own business.
I mean, yeah, that thought I feel like pops up a lot. I've thought about being a restaurant owner at points. doing something like that, and then different small business things. But
Jackie watches too much Gordon Ramsay.
yeah, it's not necessarily like just Ramsey, but like just in general, like some different ones. We've talked about like different buffet ideas or just different restaurant ideas. Like
You
I had
would run a
one.
buffet. You would.
Well, I mean,
Oh, I had a good idea. I had a good idea for a business that I don't think has ever been done before. I'll talk to you guys about it later.
so no,
I'll
no
put
one
it. I'll
steals.
put it. I'll put it in the. Yeah, I'll put it in the. I'll put it in the Discord chat because it just when you said buffet, the thought popped in my head. But go ahead. You had a point you were gonna make.
I mean, there's just like a ton, but I also know, especially at the job I'm at now, like we deal with people that run business, so I do get to see the other side of it. Like it's not all glitz and glam. There's all sorts of other things that these people have to go through, and the feast or famine of it. Like how many of them are, especially depending on the business there are, can just get screwed over at the drop of a hat. COVID being a prime example for a lot of them. But we even saw it, not even the small business. We had some people that were multimillionaires in their businesses. And one of them was very big in the sports thing. And when COVID hit and the Super Bowl or one of the sports things shut down, they had to close because they just lost millions of dollars from that one event. Like
Imagine,
that one thing ruined
ima-
everything.
imagine the government coming in and telling you can't operate for a year.
More than that.
Yeah, yeah. For some of us longer.
Yeah.
And even
For sure.
like restaurants can't really exist if it had like half capacity. They basically have to run like all out.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you guys, but ever since COVID started, and even while I was working at FedEx, I tried to make a conscious effort at least like once a week to order either Uber Eats or a DoorDash from a local business, just to like quote like support the local businesses. But I mean, it helps if you find a couple ones that you really like. But there's a burger place not too far away that does really good burgers, and they have some really good food, and I was ordering from there like once a week. I've cut that back pretty significantly, but I still from time to time try and order from a local business just to help out. Sometimes they leave nice messages on the food.
Yeah, I've tried to eat, at the even the chains that are local that I know are owned by like local people.
Local people, yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, you guys are both right. Like smaller businesses, I think even mid-level businesses that wouldn't technically be considered smaller with like so like franchise holders who have maybe 20 employees for like a store they own. Just an example, like a Starbucks or a Chick-fil-A or a I know there's the guy in town I think who owns all the Taco Bells in the area. Like maybe not him, but if you owned like a Chick-fil-A or a Taco Bell, like you might
You
be
don't
in serious trouble.
you don't you can't own a Chick-fil-A.
You can't. They're not franchises.
No, you're an employee of the corporate.
Am I the only one that thinks Chick-fil-A is just the Disney of fast food?
Mm,
Might have to die on that hill ride.
I might have to die.
there-
I'm just saying, man. They're like, they seem super
I'll,
sketch. Like all of their employees are like, "There's no war in Bossing, say."
Well, that's
I'll,
because they actually pay their employees more than others, and they actually give them better benefits and such. I mean, it's not all glitz and glam. Like you're not gonna all have like the perfect people there.
Yeah,
Like that, like any fast food place, it still has like its people doing drugs out back,
I mean, it's
having issues. But
how many
yeah,
fast food places have you worked at where they're doing drugs out back? We did our drugs in the store. What the hell?
they,
I mean,
they just
you know what I mean.
I
they
mean,
just they just pay more and expect a little bit more. So
okay, well, I mean, still the point remains. Like
as long as they do their
those
drugs
guys,
in the bathroom.
those guys are struggling. But I don't know. So I think, at least I hope we didn't get in the podcast game too late. I think we were a little behind. Man, like a lot of things in life, I feel like I'm just a little bit like I have the idea to do it, and then I never execute when the time is good. Did I ever? I know I've told Seth this
Yeah.
before, Blaze. Did I ever tell you that like when I was like 10 or 11, I was playing video games and I had the thought that I would love to watch someone play video games and I'd just listen to them talk. Because this is like, first person shooters or something, even Mario Kart. It's like, I'd love to like record myself playing video games and like talk over it. I don't know what I'd say, just say whatever. And then of course I was like, that's stupid. No one watched that. Never thought about it. And of like, 5, 6 years down the road, people are making money off of doing that. And I was like, I thought of that when I was 10 and I never did it. And I should have. Because if I had been one of the first ones to do it, whether I was popular or not, I'd still have that like I was on that first wave of YouTube. And now there's like a
You know,
million people who do that.
there's probably never like the right time to do stuff. Like basically anything that you're gonna do, you have to like just it's gonna be a slog, pretty much whatever it is.
Yeah.
If it's gonna bring some sort of like you know satisfaction.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to keep doing this though. I think this is fun, even if we don't even if nothing comes of it. We just do this because we enjoy it.
I like these formats better, where we're just kind of talking, shooting the shit.
Yeah, I'm okay with moving more towards this type of stuff. It gets harder in the bigger setting in the main podcast just because there's like 5, sometimes 6 of us in the call at the same time, so it can be a little harder for everyone to say their piece, but I'm definitely willing to do more stuff like this.
Seth, what's your opinion on the like the Friday podcast?
In what regard?
Is the news mostly boring?
I mean, some of it, not necessarily. My only, if I had to say issue with it, is that it seems all over the place.
That's
Which,
because
in
it
some,
is.
yeah,
Because it is.
I was gonna say, it just feels kind of like parkour. Or why do we go into current events and then turn around and go to gaming? Because I feel like those are two different groups we're trying to get. And obviously, we're more passionate about the gaming thing.
I wanted to do current event stuff in an effort to, I don't know, maybe get Fuzz more involved or like not become like a gaming thing, but then we kind of pivoted that way anyway. And I'm still kind of like, I'm less hesitant to drop the news thing because I think it is boring. Um, but I
It,
definitely want to get into more like talking and shooting the shit, like Blaze said, and doing stuff because I want Fuzz to be more involved. When we talk about the gaming stuff, he's made a very strong effort to like distance himself from this kind of stuff for a couple of years now. So like he's not up to date with stuff and he's not as knowledgeable, so he can't really speak as much. And I want to exclude him from the conversations.
I think it would be better if we have something on like Wednesday or whatever during the week with Fuzz, and then you just have like a real world or like life events or world topics as the discussion.
So I'm not sure how much Fuzz would want me to say. Not that I don't know if he actually cares or not, but we sat down the other day and we had like this deep like personal emotional talk. I guess not emotional talk. We talked about like our emotions and some of the ways that we think and feel, and he got a little recording device. And he wanted to record everybody in the family to just have, I guess, like a just like a memory of us
Blackmail.
forever. Yeah, blackmail essentially for us. And obviously the first one didn't go well because the settings were all off and it sounded super based. But
That's how it goes.
I told him that we should do that on the podcast and that if he wanted to upload it to the channel, we should do it. You know, I'm down for that kind of stuff. I'm pretty open about my experiences because there's not really any point in lying. But
Family histories are actually really interesting. Sometimes, sometimes they're not.
yeah, have you done one of those 23andMe things, please?
No, I don't. I don't know if there'll be a lot of benefit from it. I've got,
Find out you're not Irish at all.
yeah, I've got some interesting history, I guess.
Dude,
But
Seth,
we,
they finally got mine. I did it and I sent it in and they finally got it and they said it's going to take like 2 weeks to process it. So, in like 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have an answer to how wrong we are about our family history.
You know what? My body is ready, and part of me had a mild curiosity. Like it was never enough to pay 50 bucks uh, to get it, but then they've been having like deals like crazy every year, which I don't know if that means they're doing bad business or they're just doing so well and they know their target month.
well, even big companies have super deals at some point.
I think I think they got more competition. I think that's the thing. Yeah, I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure they just got more competition, so they were running sales to like try and get you to use them. Now, I only used them because it's the only one I know of, really. And I think Lindsay suggested it. I don't know if any of us have actually done any research on it, but I don't know. It was just like a passing thought, and I was curious. So, but man, we got really off track.
Yeah,
Uh, we
that,
we need to like set a time throughout the week where we can all stay up and have a talk with Zach, so that we're all on the same page about the direction we want to take the podcast. You know, the stuff
well,
that we want to do, and if we want to separate it into different episodes throughout the week, that's fine. But I think we're playing a lot of like phone tag or telephone through me or through Blaze, and we all just need to sit down and talk about it. It's maybe on like a Friday night after the podcast or something.
yeah.
No, I mean that's that. We don't need to discuss all that here on this episode, but I do want to ask you, Seth, about your uh least favorable job that you've held. I know you haven't held many.
I haven't held many, so it's kind of hard for me to give full accurate. I mean, I did in my youth, I took care of the church. I didn't care for it, but also didn't take it as
Same,
seriously as I probably should have.
same.
So I can't say if that was my least favorite. It was more so I just didn't want to do yard work. I don't know why I have such a hatred for yard work. Maybe it's because it's like outside and it's in the heat and such,
It's very
or it's
strange.
just kind of
Do you have a riding lawnmower?
that
We
we did.
we did, yeah.
Even like some of the other stuff, like
Yeah.
trimming the bushes, cutting the trees, like it, I
It's
don't like it's not
boring.
difficult. Maybe that's it. It's
It's
boring. I don't feel
boring.
like I have a sense of gratification from it like some people do.
Yeah, like, oh,
And
I did a good job. The yard looks good. I was just like,
I
all
don't
right,
enjoy
that chore is done. It's
the.
like washing clothes.
I
yeah,
understand not enjoying the like bush hedge cutting and trimming and all the detailed stuff, but like just getting out there and riding a lawnmower for like an hour,
I mean it's
listening
not.
to music, jamming
Yeah.
with a
Well, I
big
guess part
hat.
of it is I do have the music on, but usually the mower's so loud I can barely hear it.
You don't have the
Gotta
right
crank.
headphones.
You gotta crank it up.
Yeah, and then you're deaf afterwards because you had your volume all the way up.
I think it's gotten a lot
And then
better. Like it would be a lot less terrible now as like technology has progressed. Like when I was doing it, we had MP3 players, but it was like the crappy ones. This was like when iPods were really popular, and I didn't have one really. So my access to that was fairly limited. I think if I was to do it now, it'd be much more enjoyable because I could throw on a podcast or just throw on a playlist and then put in some like running earbuds or something, and then just
yeah,
suffer. I found running is much more, or jogging. It's not really even running. Has been much more enjoyable if I find like a show that I want to listen to or a podcast I want to listen to, and then I just immerse myself in the conversation and pay less attention to what my body's doing. It goes by much faster, and I can judge how long I've worked out or how long I've been doing it based on how long the podcast was.
yeah. Running to me is a mixed bag.
It still sucks.
Yeah, like doing it kind of sucks, but at the same time, I don't hate it. I don't
My body
necessarily
hates it.
like it. I can find some enjoyment in the thought of it, mostly because like I like the feeling of moving fast and progress, the moving the body. My body doesn't like it when I
Sanic.
move though,
Because you're
and
out
I
of shape.
find yeah, because I'm out of shape, and I find it easier, more so than I'd say like weightlifting, to push
Mhm.
myself. Like on weights, it feels like there's a lot of inherent negative sides to it. It's like uh, how to put it?
Arthritis,
Like like what?
like
Arthritis.
long-term arthritis.
Yeah,
Or
like tearing your muscles,
Yeah.
having the weights, and it feels like weights. There is a firm, no, this is it.
well,
There is no pushing past this. Like this is your limit. Versus running, I feel like you can rest a bit and then you can keep going to hit that mark. But for weights, like
Yeah.
even after you rest a bit, sometimes
Well, see,
'cause I've done that. I've waited on a rep, I've rested, I've come back to try to finish it, and it's like, no, you're not lifting it.
mm. Were you able to do it the next time that you went and tried?
Maybe in the next time, but that's what I'm saying. Like with running, you don't have to wait for the next time. You can keep going.
Oh, then you haven't pushed yourself hard enough. You're just pushing yourself harder when you lift. You could totally like run yourself into the ground where like your legs are so shaky that it's hard to walk.
yeah.
No, I do that. I do that to where like I feel like jelly, and I just don't want to do anything else.
Mm,
But I feel like even then, you can just kind of walk for a bit, catch your breath a bit, and then keep going. I guess I'm just a bit used to that side more because of
Dude, you've
football,
you've
and
got
we did
them.
the
You've got them
suicides.
thunder thighs, man. I don't know.
Do have thunder thighs.
We got those thunder thighs in this family, so like we got strong old trunk legs. So it may not be a fair comparison.
Well, I mean, I figured you Ryan could relate to it because I remember my
Yeah.
time at doing football where we would have to run around the field,
Hmm.
and we did. I guess they were called suicides or
Yeah. I
14
no, I
corners.
definitely understand the whole like feeling like you can't run anymore. Then you take a little break and you get up and you realize you can just keep pushing yourself and you can keep running. And I have been to the point where I was like, well, I can't lift, I can't bench anymore. I can't curl anymore just because I can't even lift the weight. Like I've 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 destroyed the muscles in my biceps so much I can't even curl it. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a different kind of workout because you're talking about strength training versus endurance training, and I think those aren't fair
Yeah.
comparisons.
Yeah, and the other side too is
I
for
think if you
me
were doing squats, you'd find
weightlifting.
the same thing,
Yeah,
which I
for
hate
me
squats.
weightlifting, there's an inherent embarrassment because I get every time I do it, I'm always humbled by what I'm actually able to do versus what I think I should be able to do.
Mm,
If that makes sense. Versus running, I have no illusions what I can
Yeah.
do. So if I hit a higher goal, I'm like, hey, I'm better than I thought. I might last 5 minutes if I'm getting chased by something. Maybe.
With weight training, it depends on what you're wanting to do. If you're wanting to go for max, which I wouldn't recommend because it'll damage your body long term. But like reps, you know, like a two or 300 squat, and then like maybe 200 bench is a max, like 175 to 200.
yeah, I find as much as I tell myself I want to get back in the gym, I'm not sure how much I actually do. A lot of it's because I have like that fat shame thing where you don't want to be the fat guy who walks into the gym and everybody's like, "Oh, what's he doing here?" And then like you quit after 2 weeks and they're like, "Well, I didn't think he was going to make it anyway." It's like, well, I'm just
Yeah.
projecting. I'm just projecting my thoughts on other people, but I don't know. Uh,
It
It's
is it more that, or is it more just like
well, it's hard for me to express it properly because it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that projection, and then it's a lot of the people ask you, "Well, what are you trying to get out of it?" It's like I don't know, man. I'm just trying to be less fat. You know, I've recognized that I'm like 30. I'm never gonna be cut. I'm never gonna have a six pack. That's not gonna be a thing. But if I could just not be 300 pounds, I think I'd be okay. If I could get
well,
down to like 250, I'd be okay
I
with it.
wouldn't I wouldn't look at the weight. I'd look at like progress.
Yeah.
because like muscle weighs a lot more than fat.
Yeah, well,
Well,
I mean, the weight is a pretty good indicator. Like Seth and I wouldn't fit in a normal BMI scale because we are humongous. So like the normal body weight, like the suggested one for my height is like 230 pounds, and I don't think it's even possible for me to be 230 pounds. I think even if I cut off like every ounce of fat, I'd still be in the 240 range. Because I'm a big dude. I think Seth's probably not too dissimilar. I imagine his target goal is somewhere in the like 200 mark, and he's never gonna get that lean. So like a
But
realistic goal is like 225, 230 maybe. I don't know,
yeah.
250 maybe.
I mean, I'll capitalize on the back end of Ryan after my comment there. I mean, I agree with Ryan on that one, and it's pretty much it. I know one of my biggest demoralizing things is at my peak of fitness, I still not never managed to get rid of like love handles or pudge.
Right?
I was working out 6 to 8 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week. Months
And you
on
were
end.
and you were lean, dude.
I
Like
was
you
lean,
were you
still
were
couldn't get rid of it though.
yeah, I just I don't think we can get rid of it. And yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, you've seen those pictures of those dudes who are just huge. They have huge chests, their shoulders are super wide, and then they've got like this weird, I guess it's not weird, but like their abs are like rounded and they like slope like a hill. I think that's probably our build. Like
Honestly,
the
I could
gut
live
will
with it.
always, yeah, the gut would always kind of be there, but it's not like fat gut. It's like big muscle gut.
Yeah. Now,
have you?
going back to what you were saying about the gym place, for me, part of my issue is same reason as Ryan said, the perception of it. And along with that perception, I have an inherent, and this I feel like contradicts some of my progress, is I don't feel like I can go as hard because I don't want to make myself look embarrassing. In everything. Like I don't want to lift too little weight and just do the increased reps because I have the perception of like, oh, look, you can only lift that much, or I don't want to necessarily do certain things that I feel like might push me too hard for fear of failing them in front of everybody and looking like an idiot and all these others. And so like there is that negative perception that makes it one hard to go and do stuff like getting there alone and then working out in front of them and then fully doing everything I want, which is one of the reasons I kind of like just running. It's simple, it's the same standard. You know, no one really knows how much you're going for. And
Yeah.
then,
They see you in passing and they can't tell how much you've done so far.
yeah,
I,
for,
I used to think that way too, and at some point, I don't remember. Like I can't just pick and remember some incident, but I just stopped giving a shit.
Yeah, I think it's one of those
Like
things like after you've done it so many times, like you stop lying to yourself about it.
no, I mean
The
about
illusion is
like
gone.
the,
Or the
the
running thing.
how other people care about me.
They don't, and that's the thing. I know they don't, which is crazy because I've been a concealed carry permit owner for almost 11 years now. It'll be 11 years soon. Um, so I know people don't notice things. I know they don't care. That to them you're just an NPC. They don't give two craps about who you are unless you're directly talking or interfering with their lives. But it's still that same anxiety you get before you give a
You,
talk,
you know
before you
what?
have to public speak.
You know what, Ryan? I
Mm.
I if I had to guess what it was that helped me get there, I think it would be the flamboyant Hawaiian shirts.
The alcoholism. Oh,
Just just like that's the only thing that I can like
the
put a
Vonsky.
finger on that says like I just don't fucking care what you think about me.
Is that what it is? Do we need to start wearing flamboyant Hawaiian shirts?
I mean, if you'll do it, I'll buy you one.
Dude, no, dude, you can't let fat people wear those, dude, because it's so like, I don't know. I feel
You
like
gotta have
that I would feel like that fat guy from every movie who has a Hawaiian shirt on. That would just be me all the time. I would be my dad. That's what would happen.
as long as it's I would want to get you one of those. I think it's
If you
satin.
if you bought it for me, I'd wear it, but I don't know if I'd wear it proudly.
No, it's gonna be one of those that's like, oh my god, this is so comfortable. I can't stop wearing it.
Oh,
It's like wearing like just being in your own skin.
you should buy me that Ageo shirt. Maybe I'll buy you that
The
Ageo
hoodie.
shirt. Yeah, you get we'll each buy Ageo hoodies, and after we wear it for 2 weeks, we'll just stop giving fuck about what other people think. Because once you've worn the porn hoodie around for a couple of weeks,
Wait,
No, we just
you
need
get the
to
balls.
scroll. We just need to
Do you know
roll
what
up
I'm
to the
talking about,
gym.
Blaze?
no,
Can we roll up to the gym in Ageo hoodies, please? Please,
I
Just say
I,
please.
ha-
that,
I have an
that or the
idea what
night
you're
armor.
talking about.
I know exactly what he's talking
I
about.
know Seth knows what I'm talking about.
Because I'm a degenerate.
Yeah, you are, and I love it.
I'm there's there's something that Audrey sent me.
Oh,
She didn't
it was
buy it
probably
for me.
Audrey's hoodie. She probably has one.
I should get her one for her birthday.
You really should.
You're welcome. Okay,
Here, I'll
birthday
put it. I'll
idea.
put it in the podcast research anyway, just in case Zach sees it and he has no idea what's happening. Oh, it didn't pop up as a real link. I mean, it popped up as a link, but it didn't show the picture. That's sad.
There you go. Check out that one.
Just the Hawaiian shirt. This is just a bunch of cats.
That's not the one I would get, but
Just a bunch of cats. It's a cool shirt though. It says cat on the tag. That's actually really funny. I would wear that. Oh man. I don't know if I guess the 3X would probably fit. Is it $30? The cat
oh no,
shirt.
that's too cheap for a Hawaiian shirt.
Men gothic shirt. This is what I need. Victorian shirts. Linen long sleeve solid loose fit. Dude, I want one of these. It's $20. Hell yeah. I'm gonna
I
look like the
just
British are coming and on my way to sign the Declaration of Independence.
Your cat girl.
Dude,
I
can
just
we
don't
bring
know if
this
it's
back? Get rid of skinny jeans and bring this type of apparel back?
what
Can we bring
what
looking like a gentleman back?
it's in some circles.
Yeah, but it's not the circles I'm in.
It's expensive.
I'm sure it is. Well, do we have anything else to add? Anything else we want to talk about? Or are we done with your point, Seth?
Yeah, with that one, I think circling back to what's the worst job I've ever worked. And I guess that would
Probably just be the yard work.
it would be. I mean, by extension of that, I did briefly warehouse work for my father-in-law. I as a summer job, and that wasn't too fun. But at the same time, I feel like it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But definitely only did it because I felt like I had to.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think my answer was firehouse. It's probably the worst job. Just like in general, I think maybe some of the other jobs were also bad, but if I was to like set them up from best to worst, firehouse would probably be at the bottom or close to like having to cut the lawn at the church.
yeah, something about yard work. Hate it.
Yeah, which is really strange because my dad loves yard work. He likes to garden and all that, so it's very strange that didn't get past us. Very
Maybe
much
it's
so.
just because we feel like we have a better use of our time. So
I
like,
don't
to
though.
be honest,
I don't. I think I do, but I don't.
it's fair.
Video games are just more fun. I wouldn't say it's a better use of time, but
Yeah. So in fact, it's my hatred for yard work that causes me to have a lot of problems in the sense of like a home because I want a big place with a lot of space where my neighbor, kind of like where you have the place, where your neighbors are a bit of a ways away,
Yeah.
but I don't want to take care of that yard.
AstroTurf.
AstroTurf.
Just lots and lots of AstroTurf. Get the fake grass installed.
Rocks. Live on a beach.
Lots of rocks. You could live on a beach and it's just all sand. But then you have to deal with tropical storms. But, what's a hurricane here or there?
No, that's fair.
Do we want to circle back around and talk about like life stuff and apathy and try and
I've got as much time as you guys want. We're about 40 minutes in, so it's approaching 9 o'clock. So you guys let me know when you guys want to call it. And I'm willing to go on forever. I'm probably not going to edit this one much because we've honestly done a pretty good job this time. So I'll probably just upload this one straight. So just whatever you guys want to do.
Oh, I'm good with either. I'll leave it up to Seth.
You want to talk about apathy, Seth? Or
What
want to
kind of apathy?
Yeah, Blaze.
Trying to find things that Seth would enjoy that will like at least put a grin on your face.
What? Like, do you want me? Or,
Is he
like, you're
talking
thinking
about-
of something, or do you want me to come up with something?
Is he talking about porn?
He's talking about porn.
No, well, my first thought is burnout, but that's the thing that I enjoy.
Burnout?
Yeah,
The video game?
Like,
no car stuff.
I was gonna say, like, at work? You enjoy burnout? Oddly masochistic of you, Blaze. Masochistic, I guess.
There we go.
I knew it was ruining your.
I wasn't gonna say anything this time because you could say it like that, and it's not wrong if you were to spell it out phonetically, but that's just not how it's said. So
It's pronounced GIF or GIF.
it's definitely pronounced GIF, unless you're talking about the peanut butter, and then it's most certainly GIF.
I think the creator came out and said it's GIF.
Well, he's wrong, and we all know it. He only said GIF because the G stands for graphical. I think.
Graphical.
I could be wrong about that one.
Internet.
No, it's something else.
Interchange.
Yeah,
Any-
like
Graphical
graphical interchange format
interchange.
or something.
Yeah, graphical interchange. Something. Anyway, Blaze, you never.
Am I gonna have to fact check myself live on the podcast?
Coming to you live. Fact check.
Fact check.
Totally 110% accurate.
So, wait, Blaze, did you say apathy and then what makes you happy?
Graphics interchange format.
Yeah, happiness counters apathy.
Yeah.
Are we thinking the same thing? Because apathy. Am I crazy? Apathy is supposed to, like, APATHY is the lack of emotion, right?
Yeah,
It would be the lack of emotion or the lack of interest.
emptiness.
Yeah, emptiness. Which is the opposite of happiness, which is having very positive feelings for things.
Or
Yes.
at least something.
So when someone says you're being very apathetic, they mean you're being very
Right,
cold.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
so hence my confusion on a apathetic happiness.
No,
No,
that's not. That's
it-
not what I'm.
Counters happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say, Blaze? Like, what,
Yes.
What makes you
what
unhappy?
counters, what makes me unhappy?
What makes you
No.
No?
Wait, happy.
No?
What was the
What-
question, Blaze? Repeat the
what-
question for the stupid
So
ones.
confused.
For us, for the
Okay.
stupid ones, me and Seth.
But what makes you happy?
Mm.
What things would make you happy? Like
Look, you're gonna have to dumb it down way to my level here. We're talking like preschool understanding.
okay, are we talking about like titties, shooting guns, speeding, doing stupid shit
What
in
gives you the
cars,
serotonin,
you
Seth?
know? Yeah.
The speeding does give me a bit of serotonin. I won't lie. I mean, I
Really?
don't speed. I never speed.
Obviously, we're not rule breakers or law breakers in this podcast. Not at all.
In the fictional situation for which if my car might have to go a vroom vroom, I do get a bit of joy. Anyway,
He is susceptible.
hypothetically, yeah. I what else gets me joy? I mean, we like games. Games give me joy in some situations. I haven't hit like a wall like I know Zach will bring up occasionally that games are just kind of draining for him. I still don't feel that. Uh, I always feel reading is a big happy. I do enjoy
Manga, comics, books.
all the above.
Yes.
Hmm.
Uh,
What about writing?
see, I haven't seriously tried writing. I've thought about it, of course. Wrote like a couple things, but nothing like long. Usually, it's like a paragraph in, and then I gave up. But it's not. I guess it's because I understand what good writing looks like, and I I don't I don't know how to like recreate it.
How
And I mean, like I have several ideas for stories. I don't know about you guys, but for me, whenever I listen to music, especially certain songs, I can create a narrative in my head for it. And every time I listen to that song, that'll be the narrative. And I will put it on repeat a lot of times to flesh that narrative out. And then I'll spend like weeks until I've come up with the resolution for it. And then it kind of fades from my memory and I move on to the next plot line of whatever other thing I'm thinking of. And I enjoy doing that. I enjoy like just daydreaming, thinking about my stories.
I did that in college. It's the Bane Pain Train.
Daydreaming.
We don't
But
speak about the Bane Pain Train.
it, I only have plot. I have like some stuff that I've tried to write, and I'll do like one or two pages on Word, and then it like just falls dead.
Yeah, there's only one that I feel like I've fleshed out enough for like 3 arcs or like 3 books if I was to plot wise. I haven't like written anything or outlined. Usually what happens is like whatever music I'm listening to leads me to a certain scene in my head, and then I build a story around that scene.
Maybe you should be a dungeon master, Seth.
Yeah.
Uh,
You
I'll
and
have the voice range.
you don't even need it, dude.
Uh, the
I don't.
best
I don't
way
have
to
it anymore.
do you have any desire to like write stuff, or like is it something that you'd like to do if you could get yourself to stick with it?
Honestly, I haven't considered writing seriously since I was like 8 or 10. So it's hard for me to say, like, I don't look at the prospect of it and go, ew, no. I mean, if I could do it, I think I'd be willing to give it a shot. I wouldn't mind fleshing out and going through the process, I don't think.
I
And I could see the enjoyment to it. And the only, I guess my big thing right now is my goal is making money to support my life. And then after I do that, I'm left with give me some kind of entertainment, which I know is the wrong outlook because that's how I end up in the current situation. I know the correct outlook is after you finish the job that you need to live your life, it's go do that next thing so you can get to that next stage. And yeah, it's gonna suck and you're gonna have to give up a lot of the now for the later. But that's a bit of my problem. I'm a very, very much a now guy, which is part
Yeah,
of the reason I'm so fat. It's because
dude.
I have a hard time.
You and me both. I have a lot of trouble with, and I think one of my main issues with doing stuff not to just talk about me all the time, but I think you probably suffer from something very similar. Is I see like everything as a trade off. If I do this, I can't do this. If I so like if I wanted to get fit and exercise more, not only am I sacrificing time to do that, energy to go and work out, but I'm also having to sacrifice time I would be doing something like playing video games or spending time with a friend. You know, if I
Yeah.
wanted to, so like I have this perfect version of myself who's like had got every second of every minute of the day planned out, and it's like I wake up, I go work out in some capacity, then I go to my job, and then I finish the job, and then I go to karate or something, then I come back and I play my guitar for an hour, and then I sit down and I edit the perfect video, and then it's time to go to bed, and sometime during that time I find time to play like Ep.2 or I play like balloons or something, and then like there's like 1 or 2 days a week we get to like sit down and play video games as a group, and then it's like, but that's so much time. That takes so much effort to like follow that schedule, and it leaves like no room for error. And it's like, what if I didn't want to run? What if I didn't want to play guitar? You know, what if something else happens? What if the video takes longer to edit than an hour? I don't know. I have trouble giving things up. Video games are very difficult to give up.
Yeah, there's a lot of times I think about the time I've put in. Like I brought it up on the main podcast, 800 hours of Monster Hunter, and I think about like how many hours it takes to learn a new skill, and I look at like all those save file hours I have in games. Like, man, how much of my life have I wasted doing this when I could have been doing anything else? If I had put that time towards something else, where would I be right now?
I can't think about that. You know?
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I think about it, but I mean, the flip side is, did I have fun for some of it? And usually the answer is yes
Did it
for some of them.
contribute towards your sanity at the time?
At the
Probably.
time, sure.
Probably.
And there's a lot of things.
Yeah, well, can't do anything about it now.
Yeah, and I guess that's always the other thing. Is like I'm getting more and more aware that my actions now are leading me to an earlier death. That's terrifying, but I don't know how to stop myself. It's like, huh,
Cut it off
I
at the
need to.
pass. Do it sooner.
Yeah,
Speed it up. Death he'll never expect it. It's like, you can't kill me if I do it myself.
here we
It,
go.
Just kidding.
I, I
JK.
was thinking
Don't do that.
that, like with with the writing, but it will apply to other things too. Um, it might be beneficial to hold each other accountable as a group, or push each other a little bit. Even just like sitting down and talking about stuff, I think it kind of helps.
No, it totally does. And I've been,
Does this turn into a therapy podcast? Is
well,
this how
dude,
we get?
I've thought about it
Is
for
how
a
we get
long
help?
time. Like I could really use like an accountability buddy. And I've wrestled with like how I'd go about doing that. Like maybe the internet has someone I could pay, or like random people who could be like, who would text me and be like, "Did you do this today?" And I'd be like, "No." And like, I'm disappointed. Yeah,
Hey
or
Ryan,
something.
that
But
sounds like a good business idea.
dude, I can't imagine it.
Responsibility.
Dude, I can't not imagine it not being creepy at some point. You know, and how do you separate trying to be like helpful versus being like an asshole? And I'm not sure if the liability, like, I'm thinking like broad scale, right? Like, and this is obviously not the right way to think about it, because then you'll never get started. I'm just thinking like, okay, if I had 5 employees who were accountable to like 3 other people each, and then I was being the accountability buddy for like 3 people each, like, I'm responsible for every single transaction that happens. And if one of those people decides that they were offended by one of my employees or me, and they sued the company, it's like, dude,
Insurance
yeah,
and an LLC to protect your ass so that they can't come after you for stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's a real thing though in
yeah,
this day and age. Is people
There's no way
have
that's not a
unfortunately
thing.
learned.
There's no way that's not a thing where you can pay accountabilities.
No, I was talking about your them suing you thing because people
Yeah.
have learned that all it takes for them to get a power. I think there's a mixture of I want free stuff slash a power trip or savior complex type of thing or whatever have you. The fact that they can voice their opinion and get real world results is, I think, the cause of a lot of this.
I have found a website that maybe does this. I guess you could have someone sign some kind of waiver that says like there are times you're not going to like this and you're not going to like our employees, but that's going to be tough luck. If you sign this, you can't sue them for them being dicks. You can offer, or you can ask us to change your partner, but you can't like sue us.
That's fair.
Let's see how it works. Let's see how much they want to charge for this. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know if I'm social enough for this, dude.
No, well, it would be like you would appeal to people in similar circumstances. You know, like
I feel like we could do that on the podcast,
Dude,
just like in general, maybe.
I don't know about you guys, but
you
I
can't
have.
charge.
That's true.
Yeah.
We could
Have
make.
you
We could make a
found-
Patreon, and then you could.
Found. Yeah. Found that like your tolerance for other people has drastically gone down.
Oh yeah.
No,
Like
no.
I was gonna say I used to want to be in the medical field and deal with other people, and that concept was fine to me. Now it sounds like an absolute nightmare, and my main reason for not wanting to deal with it.
Because you deal with people on a daily basis, and by people I mean like customers and stuff.
Yeah, I've found that being in a customer service industry has definitely made me hate people. Dude, being in retail just for the short time I was, I don't know if 4 years was a short time, but it was short enough, or it was long enough. But like, dude, seeing people at their worst all the time really makes you hate people, or like when they're angry, maybe not at their worst, but like when they're angry or upset. I can understand. Well, it's like I can understand how being a cop or a fireman is such a hard job, because in a lot of those cases you're seeing people when they're not being themselves, or when they're being um, particularly extreme, you know? Like if you're dealing with a drunk driver, you're dealing with someone who's not really acting like themselves. If you're dealing with someone who's hopped up on drugs, you're seeing them at a very extreme version of, or I guess if they're smoking weed, maybe a very muddled down version, I guess, depending on who it is. But I don't know. Dealing with angry white women makes you hate life, because you can't hit them and you can't swear at them, and those are all the things that you want to do, and you just have to like, yes ma'am, yes ma'am, I'll try and fix it, I'll do what I can. You're like, I didn't do it. Especially at Starbucks, dude, so many angry white people.
Like you don't
Over
get
their
paid
coffee.
enough to like make them feel better by yelling at you.
Dude, it's not worth, like, companies don't pay for your like emotional damage when someone is that upset at you, because it does take a toll on you when someone yells at you for something. It can be very, I don't want to use traumatizing because I don't think that's the right word here, but it can affect you. I can remember just about every single time someone like seriously was upset and yelled at me about something that wasn't my fault. um so it's like, dude, that stuff sticks with you. So I guess my message for today would just be, don't be that person that someone remembers because you yelled at them, like seriously yelled at them when we're upset. Don't live in that person's head rent free because they remembered you at your worst, because you're forever going to be the bad guy in their mind, because that's all they know of you.
I think my message is gonna be wear Hawaiian shirts and don't give a fuck and pretend just mentally you're on a beach sipping on the beer or something.
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. That's Blace's message. The thug life. We need to get you a thug life meme for Blaze.
Is there like a vanilla white version of the thug life? Because I'm
I'm
not hardcore
Hug
enough.
the police coming straight from your mother's house.
you jumped on that. You jumped on that way too fast. I wasn't gonna touch it. Seth, you have a message that you wanna leave the podcast with.
Sure. If you've learned anything from hearing about us gripe about the stuff in our life that we could easily change, do the opposite of what we do and actually
Dude,
do something. See,
that's not good
all the
advice.
threats.
Dude, would that have ever worked on you?
I'm not saying it's good advice, but hopefully, I there's some advice I feel like needs to be said, and it's both counterintuitive in some ways because there's a reality of you see all these successful people and you think this can be me. Reality of it being you is extraordinarily small. Chances
well,
of it being you are more likely it's not.
you
But
don't
on the flip
see
side, if you never try, then you never have even that iota of a chance.
the mountain of failures that they had to deal with to get to that point. You
I
only
mean,
get to
that's true.
see like them at their peak.
Yeah.
But what I'm also saying, Blaze, is you see, true. You're not seeing the amount of work that that one person at the top has done, but you're also not seeing all the thousands of people that have tried just as hard that never got there. You're only seeing the one success saying like, "Hey, I could be like that guy," that one in the million. You're ignoring the other 99,999,000 people.
Dude, is that your biggest fear? Like I think one of my biggest fears, if not my biggest fear, is that like I'll be that side character in a movie who dies first. Or like the guy who dies like a really stupidly unnecessary ironic death. Like dies first and just is off screen. Like just being an NPC in someone else's story.
Yeah, I would say like that's a big thing holding me back on some things is I do fear about spending all this effort of mine to ultimately amount to nothing and going and looking back like, man, I screwed up. I should have done something else. Which right now I'm still doing that anyway, so really might as well direct it towards something I kind of wanted to do. So, because life comes at you fast. We're already in finished our first year of COVID. So, those you out there, I mean,
Yep.
life
See two
keeps
terms
keeps
two
trucking.
terms of COVID.
I know
Yeah.
people say life flies by, and then the other side is life is the longest thing you'll ever do because it's literally all you'll know. But I still feel like even then, even with it being my longest and still having supposedly, I could die in my sleep tonight, years down the road to keep living, it still feels like it's going too fast. I'm trying to find where are the brakes,
You're not even that old.
Yeah, dude.
right? But it feels like it.
Dude, you're not that old yet.
If, I
You're
feel
taking
like I've
life. You're taking
missed.
life way too seriously.
Yeah. Well, we how about this? We find you something that's just like chill. I guess.
In a
You
lot
mean
of in a lot of ways, I'm really glad you married.
like weed?
You married Jackie. Keep your head in the clouds. You're too grounded. You need someone to help you dream a little.
She does help.
No, it's a good pair. You
Yeah.
you you bring her down to reality. Keep your head on the ground, but sometimes you got to look up, see the sky.
How uh how far away did you move?
He's not that
Was it
far.
that not that far?
Not yet. We we do want to. It's not going to be for several years, probably another 4 or so. But we do want to get out of the city. We don't want to get away from our friends and family. we definitely want to stay near them if we could have, but we don't want to have
They
their own.
want to stay close to friends and family. Also want to move to Ohio.
No, well, we're Ohio's not solid anymore. We're still keeping it on the list, but we're opening our horizons to other places. Like we're checking out North Carolina too.
Mm.
That might be more visitor friendly. But one of the rules we did have is whatever city we go to, they have to have a good enough airport where if we need to hop on a flight and get back home, we can.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah,
Airport there.
Charlotte's good. Roanoke's got, Virginia's got some. Uh,
But anyway, I was thinking, uh, I need to go by and then kidnap you and then go for a joyride.
Yeah,
she'll never finish teaching me how to drive stick.
dude, we need to go shoot some guns, make some things go boom, and detox and de-stress a little bit.
Yo, we can river trip when. Jackie
Oh
ditches me all the
yeah.
time to go on family stuff. I can ditch her.
When can we go back to the boathouse place, or go down to Florida?
But whenever. Florida is a bit more of a major thing because I gotta like take
Take off work.
vacation and stuff
Oh
If we
well,
got like a 3-day weekend coming up, we can just go.
this
I'll
weekend.
say
But
Easter,
there's like,
Easter weekend.
It's not a 3-day for me.
oh, you're having to work Friday? I'm not even
They
having to work
can't.
Friday.
You don't have to work Friday. Nice.
It's because we're an international company. We are not allowed to show
That's
to take off on
right.
Good Friday
That's
for
right.
fear of us showing religious preference.
Well, quit. Go work somewhere else.
Yeah, dude.
That's the plan. I need to figure out what that next place is
Wh-
because honestly,
so you're basically a scheduler, right? Like you just
no,
schedule
not
things.
right now. No, I've moved up to admin dude, like head admin dude, which means I do more like reporting, data gathering, tons of meetings, and like building, doing stuff, teaching other people, and other things. Like it's not the worst it could be right now. It's gonna get worse next month when I take back reporting from this other guy, and I'm doing invoicing and other crap. But it's I don't want to make it sound like it's the worse than it is, because really it's not a bad job, but it is boring. There's nothing fun about it. There's nothing awful about it, but there's nothing fun about it. I don't feel rewarding. Like it's not a rewarding job. It
Yeah.
just it pays well enough. It doesn't suck enough to where I regret waking up every morning and going to it.
I
And
understand that feeling. Uh,
yeah. And right now, working from home is extremely comfortable. I absolutely adore working from home. I would settle to for working longer hours at a place and then more time off. Because to me, I don't know if any of you have the same mentality of if something is more taken than what you are intending for it, it's like ruined. By that I mean, like, let's say you had a slice of cake and someone came and took half your cake. Technically, you still have half your cake left. But to me, I look at that and I look at all that was lost and I just go, I don't even want it anymore.
what was it? Was it free?
Yeah, well, let's say you pay for it.
All right. Then the government does that like all the time.
I think I understand what he's
Okay.
kind of saying. Like regardless of if you paid for it or not, like if you have something and then like suddenly a portion of it is gone and it wasn't anything that you did, it's just gone. Like its inherent value has dropped below what it was. and it's below like acceptable limits. And you're like, well, like in the cake thing, it's like if I have a full cake and then like I cut it in half and a bird takes half the cake away, well, now I almost don't even want the other half. It's like, well, I've lost about as much as I have,
Well,
which means like
well,
I guess like the inherent value is now zero.
it, I, it might make more sense to me if it was like there's one person offering you a cake, and then a bird comes and like takes away half of it, and then you
Let's
look
put it like
over.
this. Let's say I only have to go work 2 hours a day. I still have my entire day ahead of me.
Cake is a lie.
But to me, that day is gone. I have to work that day. Whatever like normal plans I would have had for a non-off day, those are gone. It's ruined. That day is now work day. Even though I'm only going for 2 hours, I still got the rest of the day. I've written it off.
I think I've had that happen so many times I don't write it off anymore. Like it doesn't make the day ruined. It just like unless it's like in the middle of the day. It's like I wake up at 9 o'clock and I'm doing stuff. Hey, I need you to come in to cover from 1 to 3. Now the day is ruined because the middle of the day is now blocked off for work, even though I'm going to be off at 3. And it's like I never really went in, but it does sometimes feel like your day is kind of ruined or at least put on hold because you have this like one block of your day that you can't do anything with. Like you're no longer free.
Yeah.
I think
And
they're
so,
required to pay you like a certain amount.
okay,
No,
that's not the point there, though. The point there is
it's not.
that
It's not
day
the money. It's
feels
the time.
ruined.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the time.
it's
And
your
so,
off day is no longer an off day.
They better make it worth it for it to not feel it terrible.
Well,
Like,
the beautiful thing is if you're not a supervisor, you can just tell them no. You can tell them to fuck off. But if you are a supervisor, they usually, when they ask you to come in, you kind of have to.
but the point is there, I'd rather have the longer days where I don't have to come in, like the 3 to 4 days on, so I could get the 3 to 4 days off. Because even though you could do something like, oh, like the current system, 8 hours, less time during the day, but it's spread across more days.
I don't know, man. Like
I'm with you. 40-hour weeks is too much.
maybe.
Five days working is too much for various reasons.
Well,
2 days
yeah.
off is too little. You really need 3 days.
I don't know. I'm very torn because if you don't do 5 days, right? If you don't make 40 hours full time, I mean, in here in Tennessee, it's 35 is full time. But if you don't allow for 40 hours, you're not making enough money for it to be worth it. If you're not going to put in even the 40, and for employers to cut hours back to like 35 or 30, then they're not getting the worth out of you. Your overall pay would drop. Not only because you're not, I mean, if your salary, your pay would drop. There's no way they would pay you the same for fewer hours worked. So say they gave you the 3-day weekend, but now they're requiring every day is 10 hours a day. Well, you're already fairly limited time throughout the day, got even more limited. So Blaze would have to wake up at like 7 o'clock to go to his 8 o'clock job. And then he's there from 8 to 7, which means he may not be home till 7:30, 8 o'clock. Well, he's already been out 12 hours of the day. If he's got laundry to do and he's got to mow the yard, well, it's 8 o'clock at night. He's got 3 hours max before he has to be back in the bed to get enough sleep for the next day. I don't know if you've worked that many 12-hour shifts, but 12-hour shifts give you so little time to do anything that's not eat, shower, poop, and sleep that it's really almost not worth
what?
the extra
Yeah,
days
but
off.
Ryan, you haven't worked real 12-hour shifts, and what I mean by that is not that because you're thinking like what you're talking about, if you worked like 18, 20-hour days. What you've worked in was basically like a slave shop.
Have you worked a 12-hour shift before?
Are
I-
you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking serious right now? How many
No,
times?
a mandatory one, not one where you just
Oh,
decided that you were going to keep working. I'm talking about a legitimate 12-hour shift where you were scheduled for 12 hours, not I'm Seth, I'm hard-headed, and I get paid by the hour, so I'm going to sit in this chair till 11 o'clock at night because they pay me to do
yeah.
it.
I mean, there have been like they won't say it's a 12-hour shift because they'll never say that. But there have been
Well,
times
yeah.
I've had to come in early, start, and then there have been like meetings that just ran late, so I haven't finished. But Ryan, you're missing my entire point of what I've been saying, which is you get the time off. Which you never did was get the time off. You just worked and worked and worked and worked and worked.
But
There was no
my points.
compensation days, so you can't use that argument
Well,
because you haven't
I can
experienced it.
I can use that argument.
How? Because you get the time back.
I think you're maybe overstating how nice it would be to have the extra days off when the days when you work are difficult. You're talking 4 on 3 off, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I would miss the I'd miss a lot of the time during those 4 days a lot because you just don't have time to do anything else. And I don't know if because then you're talking about moving all that extra stuff you would have done on those 4 days during the time off you had to, well, now you have 4 work days, 1 day at home where you have to do all your work stuff at home, and then just 2 off days. Or I guess you have to spread. You're doing your laundry, you're running your errands, you're scheduling your doctor's appointments, all of that. You'd have to spread it out through the weekend, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're
I
not
I
doing the doctor's appointments during the week anyway, and you're normal. If you lowered it down to 8, you're still not doing the doctor's appointments. A lot of the other tasks are you still doing because even though an 8-hour day isn't as taxing as a 12-hour one, it's still taxing.
well, yeah, but I
And
mean,
so chances of you wanting to go
you're
home
talking
and do all that stuff you're talking about, sure, it's greater than a 12-hour, but it's
now
still.
you're talking about desire versus like actual time you have, you know? Do you have more time to mow the yard between the hours of 6 and 9 o'clock versus the hours of 8 and 9 o'clock? I mean, you could obviously just put that off into another part of the day, but I don't know. I would like to see some evidence to see how it works and see if people really like it better.
The answer is that some people like different things. Like
I would definitely do 4 10-hour days for sure.
So my argument here isn't that it's better. My argument was solely I would like it better,
Mm.
not that the U.S. as a whole. And
I think
I don't see how you could.
I think you just work too much. I think you personally work too much, and it's not because the company makes you. I think you just put in way too much time because you're way too concerned about money, and you make yourself work too much. I think you should legitimate at 5 o'clock be done. You just clock out.
No, I.
You can.
That's not even like a company thing.
You can.
Like I will literally get calls from my boss at 5 o'clock,
Okay. Don't answer it.
and they'll carry over.
You're clocked out.
That's,
You're clocked out.
that's not how it works.
If you were at a business, if you were in a business place, can you clock out at 5 o'clock and just walk out?
I'm salaried, so it doesn't really work like that for me. But
True.
if like for hourly workers, you if it's after you leave work, then and they call you, I think they have to pay you a certain amount of money. Even if you come in for like 30 minutes, they got to pay you for like a certain amount of time.
Dude, I'm not answering the phone for that. I'm not coming into work for 30 minutes for something. Hell no. I don't know. I think there is a world, Seth, where you could reasonably, on reasonable days, I'm not talking about extenuating circumstances where your boss calls you last minute and says, hey, I need you to do this one thing real quick, or a meeting runs late. I'm talking about where days when you could legitimately just be done at 5 or around 5, not like 5:30, like 5:05, and that you just don't. You continue to work. Because she's
Seth,
like, I could take care of this other thing.
Seth, do they? Is it like a common thing where it's like all like very often at 5 o'clock you'll get calls, have to work over?
There's usually either not always like right at 5, but usually like 3 or 4. I'll start getting a call, and usually they're like hour-long calls, and then I'm left with trying to wrap up my last bit for the day, and so it'll carry over so I can get stuff done. Or if I'm having like just get dropped, like oh hey, we got a meeting tomorrow, and I need this ready by then.
Oh, you need to grow your asshole gland a little bit.
And pucker up.
And no, just be like, I need this ready by tomorrow. It's like, well, that's too fucking bad, dude. You don't have
Should have
it.
asked me.
Yeah,
Shoulda
you
asked me,
you should have asked me when I had the time to do it. It's 5 o'clock. Hours over.
No, my answer to them is pretty much like, I'll try.
No, that's the wrong
Dude,
I
answer.
don't guarantee
Dude,
I
that's
can
the-
finish it by
No,
then.
no, that's the
but
wrong
I'll
answer.
try.
Wait.
The correct answer for business standards is due to the last minute nature of the project assigned at this time of the day, and you make clear that it was past clock out time. I will be unable to perform the task in a timely manner, considering you gave me a task after hours.
I think Seth would enjoy responding more along these lines. Well, it kind of depends. Do they have programs that will track what you're doing
Fuck
on the computer at all times?
They, if they choose to use them, they can.
All right.
Draw dicks.
When they ask for something that's like really last notice and late, and it's gonna make you work over, what I was thinking was like, you do it, but then you kind of like take a break, and then you just kind of sit there for a while. And are you, if you're hourly?
Take a poop on company property or
Yeah.
company time.
Oh yeah, people
Drive
go
all the way to the company, poop on the lawn, and then drive back home. Take a big old deuce.
That's the other thing being great at home isn't just the better toilet, but there's not the constant big brother feeling. Place, I'm sure it's not the same for you at your place. Maybe it is. I don't know.
You just
We
need
had
to
like
sneak dicks into all your presentations. Just make
There you
sure
go.
there's one hidden dick in
Dude.
every one.
But back in the 70s, people would fucking drink beer at work.
oh no, we definitely have some people that go hotbox in their car and then come back.
No,
They're-
not like that. Like there are cooling lines at the plant with like chilled water. People would have fucking beer in those back in the day. Those are some of the stories that I heard.
Dude, at FedEx, people used to bring vodka in water bottles. I knew someone, I won't name them just for reasons, who used to mix coffee and Jack Daniels. They'd bring it in, especially on the cold days. They'd mix it and bring it in, and then like start handing it out. They have the thermos with the cup, and they'd be like, "You want something to drink?" It's like it's coffee with a kick. They just get just drunk first thing in the morning when it's like 30 degrees outside. It's like keeps you warm. It's like I'm not gonna complain. Just don't hit anybody. Glad you don't work for me.
This
I've
is a
considered
safe space. Did you take a hit?
Dude, I've never done it. I wanted to several times because they're supposed to check your thermoses and they never do. So you could just a closed container, you could just bring it in whatever you want. Bring in like a 64-ounce jug of vodka, a handle of vodka, and they wouldn't say anything. Like what's in the thing? Water. All right. All you
Sounds
have
like
to
security.
all you'd have to do is open it and take a whiff, and it's like, well, that's not water. That's absinthe. You're trying to kill some people, aren't you? It's like, yeah, I got some drains to clean. I don't know.
My favorite is when our security checks, quote unquote, checks our bags when they like you open it. They take their little like stick, put it in the bag, looking you straight in the eye the entire time, and just say you're good. Like never once looking in the actual bag. You're just like, thanks.
Thanks.
Feel safe.
I knew I was good before, but I'm really good. Thanks.
Yeah, feel extra secure, extra safe.
I don't know. We've been going for a while, so just so the upload doesn't take literally forever, or for my computer, we're gonna go ahead and cut it off here. We definitely rambled on for quite a bit more than I was expecting to, but thanks for sticking around, guys. Seth, thanks for hopping on. We'll definitely do this again, and maybe we can get Fuzz in here and we ask some existential questions, get to the root of